Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukatali.
A very good morning and welcome to Newsline, live from the Newsfirst studios here in Dawson Street in Colombo. And a very good morning to you, Bandle.
Good morning, Shaukat.
Wishing you a peaceful Poya Day.
Every day should be peaceful,
Indeed.
not only the Poya Day.
And we are delighted to have on our program this morning Professor Siri Hetige, the chairman of the Police Commission of Sri Lanka. Good morning, Professor.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Well, not bad. It was a bit too early to wake up.
Can I ask you
Yeah.
straight away, what do you think ails the police force in Sri Lanka? Why are they perceived to be so corrupt?
Well, I think it is something that we have to, look into from a broader perspective.
Yeah.
You see, we are talking about it today, but we are talking about something that has, evolved over a long period of time.
They've got more corrupt as they've gone along.
Well,
Is that
I
what you
think,
mean?
well, we have been talking about corruption in almost all the sectors in this country. I mean, we have been talking about corruption among, politicians. We have been talking about corruption among public servants, even corruption in the private sector, let alone, in the public sector. And then we also have to look into, this particular issue also from that angle. Now, for instance, what is corruption? I think we have to ask that question. I mean, you can be corrupt only if you have some power. If you have no power, you can't be corrupt. You see, in other words, you are taking advantage of a situation. Like if you are in power, you are in a position to take decisions, and in taking those decisions, you can take advantage. I think that is what is really happening.
But the police, they are taking advantage, aren't they?
Yes,
Well, I think, it is, I mean, we have our own experience when we are traveling around the country. We have seen, sometimes, in the open, people, see corruption sort of happening, even on our street. I mean,
Corruption and brutality, people talk of police brutality in the recent cases.
yeah. No,
I know it's worldwide, but
no, I think it is a matter of degree. I think there's nothing absolute when it comes to corruption. I mean, you can be corrupt to a certain extent. You can be corrupt to a very great extent. No, I think it's a question of looking at it from that kind of angle. I mean, I don't think that it is a secret that people who have power have abused power.
But there are obviously very honourable policemen, of course, and we're not suggesting, of course, that they're all corrupt. But do you think that the root cause of corruption within the police force, do you think it has anything to do with pay and facilities?
Well, I think it has a great deal to do with working conditions. We know that when you go to hospital, you can see some people try to take advantage of the situation, particularly when for instance, you want to have access to something within the hospital. So you can see even people with no great power, someone who is really guarding the gate, might take a small bribe. I mean, these things happen. So the point is that there is a possibility for people with economic difficulties to resort to various ways of getting some benefit. Now when you look at theft, small time theft, and these are people who are desperate, and they might go and take something from the neighbor's garden. That's a kind of that's also corruption. In a sense, that is not something that we we accept, because you see. So what I'm getting at is that we have to look at it from a broader perspective.
Yeah, but what the masses are saying, you talked about the people who steal from the next door garden, but then they are brutalized, they are harassed, so but not the big wigs or the politicians. This is what our viewers, the masses, are saying. That is what they want the police commission to help them and to have justice and fair play.
Well, that's exactly what we should be doing, and we are basically, discussing as to how we should rein in. The police commission has certain powers, and we are trying to make use of those powers to influence the way the organization, is functioning. As you rightly mentioned, we are not talking about, people, all these people are being corrupt. You have a very small proportion of people, engaging in corrupt activities. Now, this is true also in the other sectors, as I already mentioned. Not all the public servants are corrupt, but there are some public servants who are corrupt. Not all the politicians are corrupt, but there are some politicians who are corrupt. So I think the law is there to really eliminate, corrupt practices. But people will always find a way to get around the law. So what we have to do is to basically sort of make sure that we don't leave such space for people to engage in corrupt practices.
But Professor, while you were saying this, my my mind went to the Colombo prison system, and I've written about it and continue to be amazed. And that is that this is supposed to be a very secure place, and yet when I've been visiting there, some inmates told me that it is easier to obtain drugs inside the prison system than it was for them on the outside. Because on the outside they ran the risk, they said, of getting caught by the police. But here they were, inside this very secure place, and they had access to drugs. It's absolutely amazing. That's corruption. And it's acknowledged that this is available in drug, the drug trade flourishes within the prison system. And then you are met with the sight, driving along wherever, of the traffic police, almost always getting hold of these poor three-wheelers. I can't believe that it's only the three-wheelers who are breaking the rules or whatever, but it's almost always it's the three-wheelers.
There are buses, plenty of buses.
They're not supposed to, they're supposed to keep onto the left lane at certain times of the day. I come here, today was different because it's Boya, but otherwise you see these buses weaving in, weaving out, no brake lights, they shouldn't be on the road, and the traffic police are almost oblivious to these goings on.
And also to add to that, now if they stop you and you say, I'm the chairman of the police commission, I'm sure they'll let you go. Or will you tell them that you're the chairman of the police commission?
Normally I don't reveal. I don't really talk about
who you are, your positions.
So I don't know. I have no experience in this.
But Siri, who's going to be the next IGP? S.M. Vikram Singh or Pujit Jayasundar? Can you give us some news?
Can you share some news?
No, I have no role to play in this regard, because it is very clear that we have our responsibility to deal with establishment matters of all police officers except the IGP. So that question doesn't arise.
Who decides, the president or the prime minister? President.
Well, it is the president.
President.
It's the president who decides, is it?
Yeah.
I see. At the recommendation of the dear Prime Minister, or
Well,
the
I
police
don't know. I
commission?
mean,
The commission doesn't get involved.
no,
you don't get
commission.
involved. Right. So how do you think, as the chairman of the police commission, how do you feel that at least the public perception of the police can change? What needs to be done? What will stop the policemen having this unenviable thing called corruption attached to them?
Well, I think we should not be concentrating on one important aspect that you have just identified, that is corruption. But there are so many other things that that matter. For instance, we have to do everything to improve the quality and efficiency of the police. In other words, to develop the police as an efficient and professional service that serves the public in an impartial and efficient manner. So I think we probably have to improve various aspects of the police service to also address this particular issue. For instance, as you rightly mentioned, we have to look at the working conditions. Now we have to make sure that these people have reasonable working conditions, and there are so many aspects to it. And then we have to also look into welfare aspects, because they are also human beings. They have families, and they also have various needs, and we have to also look into those. It may be accommodation.
No, I agree with you, because I visited some police stations for us recently, and the conditions are appalling, because these police officers just cannot work in those conditions. So when people go and ask them for help, how could they help the ordinary people, because they are suffering there? And whilst I'm saying the politicians, and there is a minister in charge of the police, he says, I'm going to change the uniform now. I think there's more to that. You should really look at the conditions, look after the police officers. Now he's talking for us of a new uniform. The minister in charge of the police, your friend, Sagala Ratnayake.
Well, he's not really the minister in charge, is he?
That's
It's only the title. It's the Prime Minister who drives the force.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, it appears that way. That's my opinion. Okay, but honestly, what of the lot of the policemen now that the sort of independence has returned to the various commissions, like the police commission? Is it good news for the police force themselves?
Well, I think there is increasing appreciation of what we have been doing, and we have been consulting with almost all segments of the police force, various divisions, and we have been also consulting with various associations of police officers from lower ranks to the highest ranks. And we have been basically, trying to understand their issues and so on. And there are many issues connected with, recruitment, training, promotions, transfers, dismissals, and so on and so forth. Now, for instance, we have already done a transfer policy. And we have consulted all the relevant, stakeholders, and that has been approved, and that will be, implemented very soon. And similarly, we are now working on the promotional policy. Actually, we have just appointed a committee to really go into it in great detail and prepare a detailed report. And then we will, of course, consult once again all the stakeholders, so that promotional policy will also be developed and implemented in due course. And also we are looking into training aspects, and I think we are working very closely with the divisions within the police responsible for training. So we are really looking into establishment matters in a great way. And then we are also trying to work with all the relevant public institutions. I mean, we have counted something like 50 public institutions that have a bearing on law and order sort of issues like child protection, alcohol, traffic, and so on. So we are basically trying to mobilize these public institutions also, because they have resources, they have people, they have expertise, and if they work very closely with the relevant divisions in the police, I think we will have a much better situation with respect to child protection, neighborhood protection, with respect to alcohol, drugs, and so on and so forth. So we are basically trying to link the police with all these public institutions. Not that they have not been working, but I think it is important that we streamline the relationship between the police and the other public institutions. Sometimes we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Say for instance, in the child protection area, there are several institutions that are mandated by law to provide protection to children. Now naturally it also falls under the purview of the police. So now, unless they work together, now on the 28th of this month, we are going to have a wide-ranging consultation with the Alcohol and Tobacco Authority, and the relevant police division will sit around the table, and they will develop a national action plan, to address some of these issues. So already we have identified a whole range of areas, like 22 areas, and we have prioritized 9 areas, and we are going to actually develop national action plans. Say for instance, even traffic. Now you talked about traffic. Now I mean, we know that in Sri Lanka we have a huge problem with traffic management, and that has nothing to do with the police actually. I mean, of course that has something to do with the police, but it is largely lack of any control. We have been basically importing vehicles over the last 20 to 30 years, and we just can't afford to have so many vehicles on our roads, but because our roads are so poor that we just can't have all this. So I mean, while we have to try and do everything possible to address issues connected with traffic, including corruption, I think we also have to look into public policy with respect to public transport.
But, Professor, I just want to say this: the police are the custodians for the public, the custodians of the law. Let's say a common person, I don't mean to be detrimental, but let's say a De Silva or a Banda has no chance when some members of the force are so partisan and are driven by their political masters. For example, when this organization was stoned some years ago, we knew that the police were there but in civvies, and had we stepped out, it would have been we who would have been arrested, but actually it was we were the victims. We were being stoned by these unruly mobs led by various politicians and so on. So the perception, the public perception of the police is that if you know someone, then that's all right, and that the police are
serve their political masters.
Yes, they're driven by their political masters. Some years ago, I found out that the officer in charge of the police station must enjoy the sort of support of the local political organizer. Is that?
And they can transfer, they can promote.
Does that go on still?
Yeah. Well, no. I think this is really the past. We have a situation today where such interference, is not possible. I'm not saying that there might not be, exceptions. There might still be. But the point is that, if you really look at the present situation, we don't have that problem anymore, because you see, they don't have to really listen to anyone.
Right.
They have to, basically take decisions in keeping with the law. I don't think that that this is going to be a problem in the future. So we are doing everything possible.
But I although what about this matter in Emilipitia? Where this somebody was pushed out. But what's happening there then? What's the application of the law there?
Well, the point is, there are some, some inquiries sort of still not complete, and we also have done, a preliminary investigation. In fact, we are looking into this report, but I think these things will come out, because already, as I already mentioned, there are, judicial as well as sort of other inquiries. So hopefully we will, know the truth, and I think we will probably be able to, figure out, where we are today.
Why are the wheels of justice so painfully slow? We have this case now, this Emilipiti thing. It seems to be going the route of the doldrums. We have Lasanta Vikramtunga was murdered 7+ years ago.
And this girl Vidya from Jaffna, the student, it's in the papers.
And the list is almost endless.
Absolutely, but I think, I know, we know that, we have had serious problems in the recent past, and one major problem is, that things are not happening very fast. So we certainly have to, make sure that, things happen more expeditiously.
But people are losing patience, because I'm talking of the ordinary people, Siri, because they are the ones who have the problems. They are the ones who really suffer.
No, I think what we have to remember is that we have, our criminal justice system is slow and also not very efficient. If you look at, let's say, the prosecution rate, we have one of the lowest in the world. Now, this is not something today and yesterday. This has been there for a long time. The prosecution rate is around 5%. I'm not sure the exact figure, but it is very low. Whereas in many developed countries, it is around 50%, 40 to 50%. So in other words, prosecution rate is indicative of the efficiency of the criminal justice system. Now, so it's not just the police. I think there are so many institutions involved. Certainly the police has a major role to play, but you have to have the entire machinery, to work, efficiently, if you were to really improve the prosecution rate. And the other thing is miscarriage of justice. That is also part of the system. So I think, it is not, something that one institution can address. It is an issue that you have to have a multi-pronged approach. In other words, all the relevant institutions have to get together and address this issue. So, for instance, if you take the Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Justice has a major role to play to look into various legislation that might be outdated, and they have to be updated and so on. So I think we probably have to take these issues very seriously. I think public concern is very legitimate, and I think we need to really look at it from a broader perspective and see how we could improve.
Now see what happens, we have noticed now, we'll say a politician goes, we'll take for example Mount Levin area. They go and they want to be surrounded by the police, from the DIG to SSP to SP, ASP. So these people,
yes, everything's dropped.
And then they are not there to serve the ordinary people. They want, can't you stop that? Can't you intervene in this? Because they want, and then the police officers have to go because some minister is coming. You don't need these other countries. One can represent. The ASP can represent.
No, I think the need for police protection has come down, because there was a time when people were not safe, especially during let's say the period of the war. There was a need to really provide protection, and when a judge is murdered, naturally the profession demands that some protection be provided.
Yeah.
So like that, and then also we provide protection to certain public officers like judges and so forth. So I think these things have to be reviewed from time to time. I think we have a much better situation today, let's say with respect to security in general, and I think we can feel much safer today than, let's say 20 years ago. So I think we have to review these things from time to time, and for instance we have separate divisions taking care of the security of certain dignitaries. So I think these are matters for public policy actually. We have to really review policies from time to time.
I still want to go on to this unfortunate incident when somebody lost his life after being supposedly pushed off. Perhaps the police or the person who was responsible for doing that, perhaps the best form of justice would be to take him up there, push him off. But there would be it will be fast and swift and equal.
Well, that is your opinion.
Eye for an eye.
I think as a journalist, as a citizen,
No,
you have a right to express your opinion.
Yes, but it is the frustration.
Yeah, that's the point. But
sometimes it's better.
No, but
to
I
watch
think we
them
have to.
try.
No, whether we like it or not, we have to, we have to leave the judicial process to go on and bring out the truth and take the measures accordingly. And I do not want to really comment on that. And I think we are all interested in seeing justice being done in every incident involving human life. But I think beyond that I don't want to say anything.
Can you answer this question? How legal is it for the police to set up special units like the FCID?
Well, I think that is a matter before the court today, and it's being investigated. So I think it is not really
Okay, forget the FCID. How legal is it for the IGP to set up a special unit?
Well, that is something that is before the courts of law, and it's being inquired into. So I don't think that I should.
Is it the first time that this has been done?
Well, what's being done?
The setting up of a special unit within the police force.
Well, actually, I don't know really. I cannot really comment on that. But this particular matter that you are asking me about, I think that is before the court. So I don't want to comment on that.
Because it seems that there's a lot of consternation. Well, can you say with your hand on your heart that the politicization of the police force is on its way down, or is it about the same as before?
Certainly it is on the way down. I do not know where it would end, because you see the 19th Amendment to the Constitution has spelled that out very, very clearly, that depoliticization is something that we have to achieve through the implementation of. So
Well,
I
thank you for that. Unfortunately, we run out of time, so we're not able to carry on with that. But Professor Siri Hetige, thank you very much for your time and for being on the program. Thank you, Bandula.
Thank you, Faraz.
And thank you for watching. Let me wish you a peaceful Poya Day. Take care and God bless.
Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.